Who is the SkyTrak Studio Pro really for? If you're a weekend golfer who wants to squeeze a few practice sessions into a spare room, it might be a game changer. If you're looking for a full-blown indoor course with motion capture and ultra-realistic graphics, you'll probably end up disappointed. And for the average buyer who just wants to hit a few balls after work, the price tag can feel steep unless the whole package actually saves you time and money compared with going to a range. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing most people worry about with any indoor golf system is space. The SkyTrak Studio Pro claims it fits in a room that's about 10 feet wide, with a ceiling height of 8.5 feet. That sounds doable for mini basements or garage setups, but you have to think about the ceiling clearance when you swing a driver. In my own experience, a standard driver swing reaches roughly 4 to 5 feet behind the head, so you need at least that much clearance behind the hitting mat. If your ceiling is lower than 8 feet, you'll start seeing the club head clip the projector screen or the wall, which ruins the whole experience. On the flip side, if you already have a room that meets those dimensions, the package saves you the headache of figuring out each component separately. The enclosure, the projector, the mat, the ball tray, and the protective case all come pre-matched. Now, let's talk about the day-to-day use. The enclosure is built from steel, and the screen is marketed as high impact. In practice, after a couple of weeks of hitting mid-irons and a few drivers, the screen still looks pristine, and the steel frame doesn't wobble when you step on the mat. The included 5x5 hitting mat feels dense enough to give a realistic turf feel, yet it's not so hard that it damages the club heads. One practical weakness I noticed is that the mat can shift a little if you're not careful with foot placement, especially when you're setting up a longer club. The good news is the ball tray slides under the mat and catches the balls, so you're not chasing them around the room. For a golfer who wants to practice swing mechanics and ball flight without constantly resetting, that small convenience adds up. The software side is where the real value, or the hidden cost, lives. SkyTrak's own launch monitor feeds data into its companion app, giving you ball speed, launch angle, spin, and a shot trace visual. For a casual player, those numbers are enough to see whether you're improving over time. However, if you're a data-hungry golfer who wants to compare your stats to a PGA Tour baseline, the free tier feels limited. You end up needing a subscription to unlock detailed analytics, which adds a recurring expense that many first-time buyers overlook. So the initial bundle looks like a one-time purchase, but the long-term cost can creep up if you want the full feature set. Who should actually press the Buy Now button? If you already have a decent amount of indoor space, a willingness to spend a few hours on assembly, and you're comfortable using a smartphone or tablet to run the software, you'll likely get the most out of the package. It's also a solid fit for families where one person is an avid golfer and the others can use the putting turf for a quick game of mini golf, making the whole setup a shared entertainment piece. On the other hand, if you live in a small apartment, have a low ceiling, or you're only looking for a way to hit a few balls once a month, the Studio Pro probably isn't the best use of your budget. In those cases, a simple hitting net and a portable launch monitor would deliver similar practice benefits for a fraction of the price, and without the need for a dedicated room. Another hidden trade-off is the reliance on the projector. The included projector works fine in a darkened room, but if your basement doubles as a laundry space or you have ambient light from windows, the image can wash out. That means you either need blackout curtains or you have to accept a dimmer visual experience. The good news is the projector's brightness is adequate for most indoor setups, and you can calibrate the screen tension to get a sharper picture. Still, it's something you have to plan for before you unpack the box. Finally, let's talk money. The price point sits in the mid-four-figure range, which includes everything from the enclosure to the protective case. If you compare that to renting a local indoor golf facility, you could end up saving a few $100s a year after the first few months of practice. But the break-even point only makes sense if you're actually using the system regularly, say, 3 to 4 sessions a week. If you end up using it once a month, the cost per session quickly outpaces a range membership. The value really comes from the convenience of never having to drive to a course and from.